So no, this episode isn't about eliminating every stressor. It is about actively and intentionally completing the stress cycle. You don't need to do all of these things each and every day, but you do need to do something. Find something that helps your body to feel safe again, something that signals the lion is gone. You are okay. Welcome to The PA is In, the show created by PAs for PAs, where codependency with your supervising physician is a thing of the past, optimal team practice is the future, and physician associate has taken the place of physician assistant as the professional title of choice. I'm Tracy Bingaman, and I'm obsessed with redefining what success as a PA looks like and what it feels like. Here you'll find the mindset shifts, systems, and processes I use to escape healthcare burnout and integrate my work into my life. Work-life balance is a myth, and an integrated life where you thrive professionally, not a balancing act, is the goal here. My mission is to help you to grow into a unicorn PA who loves their job, has abundant energy, time to spare, and work-optional financial freedom. The PA is in. Hey there, friend, and welcome back to The PA is In. If you're anything like me, and I would say like most of the clinicians that I coach, you're no stranger to stress. The stress of seeing too many patients in too little time, of logging into your in-basket and feeling your chest tighten, of navigating tough diagnoses and conversations, and oh yes, still needing to pick the kids up before daycare closes, and they want to be fed dinner again tonight. Let's be clear. This episode isn't about magically eliminating stress. It's not about running off to a retreat in Bali, though that does sound nice. It's about what to do when you can't remove the stressors, but your body is still sounding the alarm like you're being chased by lions, tigers, or bears. Oh my. If you're thinking you've maybe been managing your stress in some sort of unhealthy way, scroll back and add the last episode to your podcast queue. Consider listening to that one first. In it, I unpack some common examples of maladaptive stress responses that are common for clinicians in a modern world. But today, we're going to talk about what stress actually is, how it's different from the stressor, and more importantly, how to complete the stress cycle so it doesn't burn you out, break you down, or sneak into every crevice of your life. When we are so stressed, stuck in that stress response, unable to complete the cycle, we aren't able to enjoy other really important aspects of our lives. All right, let's go. Have you ever opened a CT, MRI, or X-ray and felt a wave of self-doubt? You're not alone. Whether you're a new grad or stepping into a new specialty, reading imaging can be one of the most intimidating parts of clinical practice. That's where Guardian Light CME comes in. This interactive, case-based tool helps you to sharpen your imaging skills and earn CME while you do it. Start now at zaronlabs.com/guardianlight and use the code Tracy10 for 10% off. You'll review real-world cases with clinical context, scroll through the actual imaging just like when you review imaging at work, and here's the best part, test your eye by toggling key findings on and off to see if you can catch them on your own first. You'll find real imaging impressions, clear teaching points, one-click CME certificates, and new cases sent directly to your inbox each and every week. You get to see it, know it, and catch it before it matters most in real life. Are you ready to gain clinical confidence and read images with ease? Head to zaronlabs.com/guardianlight. That's ZAURON labs.com/guardianlight, LITE, with the code Tracy10 for your discount. First, a note on the stress versus the stressor. Stressors are the things that cause you the stress. The overflowing in-basket, that crashing patient, the snarky comment from your colleague, your own inner critic whispering, "You're not good enough." Clinical imposter syndrome, nagging administrators, increasing and never-ending demands, sicker patients, and shorter appointments. All of those things are stressors. The stress, on the other hand, is your body's response, a physiological, neurological shift designed to help you survive threats, like outrunning a lion. The problem is, your body doesn't know the difference between a lion and that printed report of unsigned notes that you're with your name highlighted at the top that your administrator maybe passively aggressively left on your desk last week for you to complete. When you deal with the stressor, say you finish your charting, you complete that list of unsigned notes, but you don't give your body this signal that it's safe now, you stay stuck in the middle of that stress cycle. That tunnel of stress where you're stuck in the cycle and you don't complete the stress cycle will eventually lead to burnout every single time. Let's talk about the science and the physiology behind stress. When you have a stressor and then you experience that stress response, a couple of things happen. Your muscles tense. You become hyper vigilant and just really aware of what's happening around you. Your heart rate, your blood pressure, your respiratory rate increase. You mobilize glycogen stores so that you can run if you need to. Things that are non-essential like digestion and immune function and tissue repair decrease because at that time you don't need to be doing those things. It's like your body is saying, cool, we'll deal with healing and rest and digestion later. Right now, we run. And you end up in that fight, flight, or freeze mode. The longer that you live there in that heightened systemic neurologic response, the more that stress chips away at your physical and emotional well-being. So, how do you complete the stress cycle? How do you make it through that tunnel of stress and out the other side into the light? You complete the cycle by speaking your body's language. And spoiler alert, it's not English. So I'm going to unpack 7 science-backed ways to tell your nervous system, hey, the lion's gone, the patient is stable, the note is signed, and we're safe now. You have to speak your body's language because simply thinking to yourself, I'm okay, I'm fine, everything's fine, is not enough to really get your body to understand that you are okay and that the stress has passed. First up, movement. Your body doesn't understand deadlines and ultimatums and notes and overflowing in baskets, but it does understand running, dancing, jumping jacks, shaking it out like you're in a Beyonce video, line dancing, yoga, stretching, high and low intensity exercises. All of those tell your body that the stress has been processed. Essentially, what you're doing here is you're taking all of that prime sort of adrenaline dump and glycogen and increased blood flow and blood pressure and heart rate, and you're using it for exercise. You're sort of using up that stress response. Move your body 20 to 60 minutes a day is what the studies tell us. Or if you're in the middle of a really stressful day, you're in clinic, you're dealing with things, and you just feel that tension, that tightness, that stress building, stand up, tense all of your muscles, squeeze, relax, do it a couple of times, take a deep breath and shake it out. Even 30 seconds of intentionally contracting those muscles, relaxing those muscles, motion and movement, and getting those muscles to, use some of those responses that they're primed to do can emotionally regulate you. Movement is the single best way to process your stressors and to complete the stress cycle. It doesn't have to be formal exercise. I'm not talking about a jazzercise video from the 80s, except for if that's your thing, go for it. It can be any movement. A brief walk around the nurse's station, walking from the OR to the patient waiting room and back. Sunshine and fresh air are a bonus. If you can get outside of the building that you're in, go and take a little brief movement break, just like a movement snack. Stretching, doing some upper body lifting with saline jugs from the supply closet. Get creative with this and tag your coworkers and colleagues and say, hey, do you want to walk with me? Do you want to just walk around? Like, if we're going to talk anyway, can we have a walking meeting? At its most basic, do that tensing, flexing your muscles, and then releasing them. Try that throughout the day. Get some movement in that's intentional. I am a morning exerciser, so it pains me to tell you that evening or afternoon or when you're done working, exercise is the best because, like, okay, you're working, you get this stress, and then you're feeling stressed, and then you exercise and it tapers off. I'm a morning exerciser, so I do not follow that rule. It has to fit with your life. All of the things we're talking about today, all of these ways to process stress, has to fit with the rest of your life. So find a time where movement works for you and get moving to process some of that stress. Next up, breathing. You're going to breathe all day anyway. You might as well harness that breath and use it as a tool to process your stress. The great thing about breathing, unlike standing up and tensing your muscles, is that you can do it all on your own throughout the day without anyone knowing or noticing. Harnessing the power of that breath and being intentional about your breathing is so important. I want you to try this. You can try it right now, or you can bookmark this point in the episode and come back and try it later. Inhale for 5. Hold for 5. Exhale for 10. Pause for 5 and repeat. And watch and tune in to how your stress levels shift. That is called box breathing. Because if you think about a box, you inhale, hold, exhale, and then pause. If the exhale is longer, it's going to look like a trapezoid. But regardless, breathe, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Any breathing where you inhale deeply and expand your stomach and you use that diaphragm all the way to pull that air in, and where the exhale is longer than the inhale. This is especially powerful when you feel sort of like you're ready to boil over, when you're that edgy, overwhelmed, or like you might cry, which we're going to talk about later. When those things sort of build up, my husband and I call that I'm coming to the edge, because years and years ago, we watched this like wife swap or mom swap where they sent the super healthy mom to the unhealthy family's house and switched, and it never goes well because they choose totally opposite people to switch. And there's this one little Southern kid, and he gets the healthy mom at his unhealthy family, and she throws out all the junk food, and he just loses it. He comes to the end of his patience, and he packs a suitcase, and he says he's going to grandma's house. So he's running away from this terrible tyrant who is throwing out all of his junk food. And he says 2 things that we say pretty regularly in our house. One is, I'm coming to the edge. So he says, I'm coming to the edge. Like he cannot take it anymore. He's got to get out of there. So I want you to remember that in terms of your stress level. And the second thing he says, which is definitely not based in science, is bacon is good for me. So we will sometimes say that in terribly butchered Southern accents as Northerners in our house. But when my husband and I say that to me, I'm coming to the edge, it usually means I am I am right below redlining. I need a moment. I need a moment away from this wonderful, wonderful life and these crazy loud children that we have created together. I need a minute to sort of gather myself and do some of these things to decrease that stress response. So keep an eye on your stress throughout the day and throughout your life this next week and think, what brings me to the edge? Do I know what it feels like to be coming to that edge stress wise? And breathing is a really great thing to do when you feel like you're coming to the edge. Deep breaths have this ability to just take the edge off. Like a simmering pot letting off some steam before it boils over, breathing can be done in the middle of even the most stressful clinical situations. Simply bringing awareness and more sort of mental acuity to the presence of your breath. If you are getting ready to go see a patient, can you take a deep breath before you knock and walk into their room? Can you down regulate some of that stress response when you've seen a frustrating patient or, an encounter that was stressful or draining to you? Taking some deep breaths can help your body to know that like that encounter is over. And processing that, I'm going to go into this next one with sort of a clean slate by kind of breathing through some of that stress. Next up, positive social interaction. I'm not talking about hours-long conversations or book club with your gal pals, although those things are absolutely going to help manage your stress. Just a smile, a kind word, a hey, how's your day going? These little tiny moments of interaction and socialization remind your brain that the world isn't one giant emergency. Plus, it'll feel good because you're being kind to people around you. We don't take time to stop and chat with coworkers or the nurses on the floor when we are being chased by lions. Positive social interactions have the ability to tell our brain that we are not, in fact, in an emergency situation. Laughter. Laughing until you snort. I'm talking like uncontrollable belly laughter. Watch a funny video. Recall a time that your kids said something completely absurd in public. Watch a video of a baby or a toddler laughing. Seriously, have you ever seen one of those videos that you just can't help but laugh out loud when you see it? Even just remembering those funny moments light up the parts of your brain that release those positive endorphins and help your brain to know that things are safe and that, yeah, like stressors exist, but we are managing that stress, and that laughter is a really great way to do that. This is one of the reasons that people in healthcare develop that weird, morbid sense of humor. I think this is not based in studies, this is just my supposition, is that we have that sort of dark, edgy sense of humor because we have this ability to process that stress inside of a shift. So if you've ever been in a high acuity situation and people start joking and making other people laugh in a way that's like a little uncomfortable, where we're like, should we laugh at this? Should we be? But we do laugh, and then we do feel better after laughing. When we're in life and death situations, we're not going to howl with laughter. We're not going to, sort of release those endorphins in terms of laughing. So think about that as a tool for managing your stress. Are you feeling stuck, burned out, or craving a little more flexibility and financial freedom? You're not alone. So many clinicians feel trapped in the grind, overworked, underpaid, and unsure how to pivot. But here's the truth. Your skills are valuable beyond the clinic. That's why I created the 48 Side Gig Ideas for Healthcare Providers Guide, a free PDF packed with practical, creative, and immediately cash-generating ideas that you can start right now. From telehealth to medical writing and patient advocacy to app development, and even a little note on podcasting, these things aren't fluff. These are real, proven opportunities that other providers are already doing. You don't have to figure it out alone. This guide will help you explore new passions, learn how to make extra money, and make the first step towards multiple income streams and building the life and career you actually want. Download your free copy today at tracybingaman.com/gig or click the link in the show notes and start creating financial freedom and cash flow flexibility on your own terms. Because you, my friend, are more than just your clinical job, and taking the first step to generating alternative revenue streams is waiting for you inside the Side Gig Guide. Find it now in the show notes. Physical affection. Physical affection can tell your brain all is well and safe. Specifically, research tells us that a 20-second hug or a 6-second kiss, apparently there's no time to make out when you're fleeing from a lion. My kids have given me a hard time about this 20-second hug rule. And so instead of like awkwardly counting to 20 while we're hugging, we've decided to just hug until we relax. Just a nice long hug until you relax. 20-second hug, a 6-second kiss, petting your dog, holding hands with someone. Each of these acts can complete the stress cycle. These physical interactions, this physical affection with others, trigger oxytocin. Lower your blood pressure and tell your body, we're safe here. Everything is okay. Crying is not a weakness, and despite what we have been told working in healthcare, having feelings and having a physical response, a biological response, and a release of stress is not a weakness. Let the tears come. Let the deep breaths that calm you down after crying help as well. The other day, I was feeling like I was coming to the edge, like I was stressed out. I had this couple of days where it just felt like nothing was going right, where my wallet had been stolen and I was dealing with the fallout of that. I was running low on sleep and feeling the weight of multiple stressors. Honestly, I had overcommitted myself in terms of scheduling. I had to pack for an upcoming trip, and I love to travel, but packing and unpacking, not my favorite. I was feeling extra emotional and overwhelmed in general. And I woke up and I said, it's a new week. It's going to be a new week. I'm going to make everything go right, which like, let's level set with the expectations. But I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to feel better, to be less stressed and overwhelmed in the coming days. I get up and I do my journaling and I have my cup of tea and I'm doing my morning routine. And I'm like, yes, I've only been awake for 30 minutes, but let me tell you, things are going really well. Like maybe the tide has turned. And I got up and I had this regular like home mug of tea and a new coaster that my daughter had made me for Mother's Day. It was painted. It said, I love you, Mom, and had a portrait of me with super, super curly hair all around. And it was just beautifully decorated. And I had it sitting in this place of honor next to where I do my morning routine. And I got up I went to refill my teacup, and unbeknownst to me, the coaster was stuck to the bottom of the mug of tea. And I walked into our kitchen where we have a tile floor, and the coaster dropped right off the bottom of the mug and shattered, not into a million pieces, but into more than one piece, which was how many pieces it was in before it fell. And it shattered. And it just so happened that Dan was sort of entering the kitchen behind me. And he was thankfully there to sort of deal with picking up the literal pieces. And I cried and I cried and I cried just for a minute or two. Like it wasn't like I just, but I had a moment. I had a moment of crying and I just was like, are you kidding me? I thought I had turned the corner. I thought everything was going well. I thought, I was dealing with things. And the coaster has been repaired, has been meticulously glued back together. My husband is really great about doing things like that. So Dan fixed the coaster. Our daughter does know that her prized artwork was shattered and repaired. And it was just like split right down the middle. Like if my face is in the middle of the coaster, it was just like chopped in half and broken, which is sort of how I felt at that moment. But all of that to say, I cried and I cried and it only lasted probably a couple of minutes tops. But I have to tell you, I did feel better afterwards. It wasn't that the stressors were gone, right? They were still there, but I had processed. There is just something so cathartic about crying. And that crying can be you completing your stress cycle and telling your body that everything is okay and that you're just processing. And it's okay to feel those emotions and to manifest that in a physical way. Next up, creative expression. Painting, writing, singing, baking, decorating, doodling in your planner with obnoxiously bright colored pens. Who remembers gel pens? Whatever happened to gel pens? Those were so much fun to write with. They were so smooth too. I don't know how to make a pen that smooth. I don't think we're doing it anymore. It was only 90s sparkly gel pens. But creative acts can bring you into the present moment and reconnect you with joy and play and simplicity. They are not frivolous. They can be so healing. And if you are in that creativity doesn't pay the bills camp and you think that doing these creative endeavors is a superficial, sort of frivolous waste of time, check out the book Unicorn Space. I will link it in the show notes. It will change the way that you see creative pursuits and help you to see them as a vital part of being a human being, not a superficial, sort of elective part of what it is like to be human. I want to encourage you as we prepare to wrap up here to do something. Wellness and processing stress isn't a passive state, it's an active process. Even one step towards stress relief is a vote for the kind of life that you want to build. So do something different. If you are feeling overwhelmed by the stress and the ongoing stressors at work and in life, try something to actively manage your stress today. Continue it for a week. Touch base with yourself, checking in to see how your stress level is throughout and also specifically before and after you implement one of these practices. Is it working? Is it starting to feel natural? Are you taking that deep breath before you walk into a patient room or occasionally doing that muscle contraction to see how it makes you feel throughout the workday? Is this something that is sustainable that you can regularly integrate as a part of your daily routine? So, no, this episode isn't about eliminating every stressor. It is about actively and intentionally completing the stress cycle. You don't need to do all of these things each and every day, but you do need to do something. Find something that helps your body to feel safe again, something that signals the lion is gone. You are okay. Remember, our bodies don't speak English. So saying to yourself, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, is not the same as actively completing that stress cycle using movement or breathing or being intentional and creative about those things. Burnout doesn't come from one moment of stress, and healing won't come from one moment of deep breathing. Burnout results from a chronic overloading of your system, too much stress, and not enough tools to manage that stress. But every moment of movement, deep breath, hug, laugh, or dance party gets you that much closer to processing that stress effectively and efficiently. If you're still listening and you're thinking, that sounds great, but I don't even know how to start, or I've tried this on my own and it's not working, I would love to help. Book a free coaching call using the link in the show notes. Let's figure out what works for you and create a plan that helps you to cultivate career sustainability over burnout as the default for healthcare providers. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You are not failing because you're stressed. You're human, you're healing. You're spending a lot of time taking care of others, and you're doing the darn thing. I'm really proud of you. Until next time, keep moving, keep breathing, and keep showing up for yourself. That's all for today. This PA is out. Congratulations, you've just joined an awesome club. By listening to a full episode of The PA is In, you are officially on the Unicorn PA team. Welcome aboard. What most team members do is they subscribe to the podcast because that allows them to automatically get the latest episode of the show. The life of your dreams exists on the other side of taking action. Keep making small shifts and keep getting better. Your life will improve, your career will soar, and you will have the confidence you need to create your own success. I will see you in the next episode. This PA is out.